in all of this, fair or unfair, I feel that Deion Sanders is to blame for this. For the simple fact of not Deion as a father. Deion as a father, I think, felt burned when these picks were going off the board.
Sure.
And his son wasn't taken, his player wasn't taken. There's obviously remorse and hard feelings there. But throughout this whole process, it has been the Deion way, the promotion, the logos, the whole deal, which has gone back for as far as when Deion was entering the league, like of the flash of when Deion enters in 1989. So if anybody knows what this is all about, it should be Deion. And if you're having bad interviews, if you're saying we're not going to go to certain teams, which I don't have a problem with. I don't have a problem with the Mannings did it. We don't want to go to San Diego. We don't want to go there. So they force a trade to New York. We've seen that before. I don't have a problem with any of that. But when you're not Deion Sanders and you're not Eli Manning and your talent doesn't rise to that level, then you have to kind of dance with the devil that you're bringing into play. And that is this slide. And if none of this happens, because you've said it 100 times, everything is analyzed in all of this. And if you're having bad interviews, if there are clips that are showing you being rude in handshake lines in college football, ultimately, that's going to come back and bite you. And at no point during the draft process, and I don't even mind the Colorado stuff because I've said I think Deion is underpaid. But when you get to this draft process, they did him no favors whatsoever in saying, you know what, let's tone it down a little bit. Let's throw at this spot. Let's go to the combine and throw and show these things. They did none of that. They did none of that to answer any questions. And it was more of, if you're having bad interviews, how in the world do you expect to be drafted, right? And nobody can tell them no. There's nobody in that circle that can tell Shedeur no except Deion, right?
That's it.
So ultimately, it's not Deion as a father. You sent the clip over of Shiloh joking, we got to fire dad as an agent. And there is so much truth to that. There is 100% truth to that. Because if all this stuff doesn't happen, he doesn't fall to the 5th round. For as much as you may not have liked this game, they had him at what, 20th best prospect, Daniel Jeremiah? Mel had him obviously higher because he was fighting for him so much. The blame for this goes on Deion as the coach and the agent in all of this.
Yeah, I think when you get down to it during the process, right, you have so many different touch points to where you can massage a lot of the rhetoric, right? We joke about the movie Draft Day a lot. It comes up on the network, and you either love it as a nice little kitschy. That it's funny that Jacksonville and Cleveland make a trade, right? Because it's hallmark to everything. Young GM in Jacksonville and all of those things, but you also have the whole Bo Callahan thing, right? It's unfortunate. Years later, he's represented by Diddy in the movie. I can't change casting at this point or retrofit it, but you've got the whole thing of, hey, did people go to the guy's birthday party? You know, and that becomes a central thing. You either get Sam Elliott as the coach of the Wisconsin Badgers there. As Smith said the other day, I think it was the first time he may have worn shorts in his life in that scene. But the point being that we've talked for as long as you and I have been doing this. NFL teams find out everything. And it's not necessarily that you're a bad guy, but it's what's left unsaid in a conversation, right? You know, your friends, you know, that are married are having some issues. It's all in the unsaid stuff, right? Someone's going to confide to a point, but then there's these gaps that you're trying to fill in your head, right? So, you know, your kids are having issues at school. Well, how much is them? How much of that is, you know, their surroundings? Teachers not getting the job done. You got a couple of jackasses in their class that make it hard. They're on a group project and 3 guys are basically telling you, beat it. It's all on you, whatever the case may be. From the time Shedeur called out the line in the Nebraska game, like, all right, what's that locker room like? And that's been in the background for me talking, you know, as we've gone through this process of honest opinions about people that work around the building, in the building, not just players. Did you get some bad reporting and bad intel there? Again, not that he's some evil guy, but that he's aloof and he's disconnected and all of those things. And he's got plenty of opportunity now to try and go repair and remedy those things. Like I said, he ends up in a spot other than Dylan Gabriel being in the mix now. He was going to go and battle anyway.
Yeah.
Right. And either he was going to be ready eventually or not. But on tape, there were a lot of questions that needed to be answered, right? Playing on time, playing, sacks, you do the pie chart of how much is on him. You talk about the competition Colorado played as opposed to guys that played weekly in the SEC and Big Ten. So when you had the opportunity to go apples to apples on a field and throw and compete, you chose not to. And you showed up at a lot of events, but then said, like Jerry Seinfeld, I choose not to run.
Yes.
It's what he did time
Absolutely.
and again. So are you scared? Or is it hubris? Either way, it's not good for an NFL team looking at you.